In this video, we talk about the fish we really love for a 10-gallon aquarium, so stay tuned. Hello everyone, this is Jason from Primetime Aquatics, and we wanted to do a video talking about our top fish to put in a 10-gallon aquarium. Now there are other videos like this out on YouTube, but I wanted to include some fish that are really cool, have a lot of color, and usually don't wind up on these other lists. So stay tuned. We would like to thank Flip Aquatics for sponsoring this episode. Friends, if you are looking for anything related to shrimp, shrimp keeping, or any type of nanofish, check out his website. I will leave that in the description below. A number of the fish that we're going to be featuring in this video can be found on flipaquatics.com. We often get questions, where are the best places to buy fish online? This is a really good source, Flip Aquatics. We have gotten to know Rob and Flip Aquatics over the last couple years, and they are an exceptionally good company with great customer service and just really awesome people to be around. So I wanted to be a little unique here in what we do, give you some options, some different options. This is the first one. This is Neolamprologus multifasciatus, otherwise known as the multi. It is a shell dweller cichlid from Lake Tanganyika. The cool thing is they stay really small. We did a species profile on this fish a long time ago. I will put that card in the upper right hand corner, as well as any species that we have videos for. I will put that in the description below, but this is a really fun one. You get yourself maybe 4 to 6, throw them in a 10-gallon with some sand and some shells. We talk about how to set up a shell dweller tank. I'll put that in the description below as well. But this is a really cool fish to have in a 10-gallon. The only thing you might want to keep in mind is they do reproduce, and you may have to thin out the herd every once in a while. But you look at these fish and their personality. If you're looking for something where you're just going to have them constantly rearranging the tank, maybe they're spitting sand on one side and they're moving shells all around, a lot of people like to keep this fish in a smaller tank, especially if it was like an office tank or something, as long as you're going to be there to care for them. I'm assuming with all these fish, we know how to care for the fish and that we've got a well-cycled tank, but this is a wonderful fish. Another cichlid you could consider is a pistogramma. There are lots of different types. If I were going to do one, I'd probably only do one in a 10-gallon or maybe a pair, but that would be it, because if they start to breed, they could get a little aggressive, but they're beautiful fish, especially the males have a lot of finnage. Nice centerpiece fish for a smaller tank. If you're looking for smaller non-cichlid fish, this is a really cool one, the lampi rasbora. They've got really bright blue eyes. They're beautiful fish. A lot of the rasboras, they stay on the relatively small side, and some of them are downright tiny. What's cool about them is you generally want to keep them in larger groups. I don't think 4 is enough for this. Normally 6 is the bare minimum for a lot of the rasboras, but the more you do, the better. In a 10-gallon, for a lot of the smaller ones, you're looking at maybe 8 to 10, and they won't appear very cramped because of their overall size. We got another cool one right here. This is the pork chop rasbora. They get a little bit bigger than the lampi, but again, a lot of really nice color, really kind of almost an iridescent orange. Keep them in at least 6 to 8. In a 10-gallon, that would be a relatively easy thing to do, but if you want something that's going to really stay together, school, here's a pygmy sunfish. Actually wouldn't be a bad idea for a 10-gallon either, but they're a little bit harder to come by and often need live food. But the rasboras are cool. They're super easy to keep. We're going to get to some of my coolest fish that I've got in this video here in a second, but you also might want to think about what you're going to do for a cleanup crew in your 10-gallon. Mystery snails are a fantastic option. We've got them in all different kinds of tanks, and they're actually kind of interesting to watch. You see 2 of them here. Really cool. They come in lots of different colors. We've done a species profile on these, how to keep them successfully. I'll put that in the upper right hand corner. You can find that video in the description below as well. But mystery snails, super easy to keep. They're very tame. They're not going to pick on fish or anything like that, and they do a relatively good job of keeping the algae off the glass, and they generally don't do too much damage to plants as long as the plants are healthy. Another option for your cleanup crew are shrimp, Neocaridina shrimp. These are really cool. They're super fun to watch. I find myself really enjoying watching them do their thing, as you can see here. Now you got to be a little bit careful in terms of tank mates when you've got cherry shrimp. We've done a species profile on them. Again, the link is in the description below, but a lot of fun to watch, something a little bit unusual, which is kind of nice. You just have to make sure that your fish are small enough that they're not going to make a snack out of the shrimp, but something I think you would enjoy. And here is my favorite. This is the Peacock Gudgeon. We have been keeping this fish for a very long time. We've bred many, many, many hundreds of them, and I absolutely love them. We've done a species profile on them. Again, the video's in the description below, but look at the colors on these fish. Now some sources say they get a little aggressive. I just haven't found that to be true. In this 20 long, and these are older fish at this point, but in this 20 long, we've probably got 25 or 30 of them. We've had as many as probably 40 in a 20 long. We've had hundreds in a 37 gallon. We've kept them with a number of different type of community fish, and not once have I ever seen any aggression from any of them. Again, it's the colors. This is one of these fish where if you put them in a 10 gallon, especially if you had them on maybe a little bit of a darker substrate, they even show better color. And it's something where when people see that 10 gallon, they're looking at them wondering what they are. And they're really great personality. The males get kind of a nuchal hump on their head, where the females tend to have a little bit of a rounder belly. Breeding them, you don't really have to worry about that in a 10 gallon, because even if they do breed, they're going to eat their own babies. So it's not necessarily a concern, but these are fantastic fish. In my mind, my number one fish for a 10 gallon is right here. But we got some other cool ones coming up too. So obviously you've got some common fish like guppies. These are Dumbo ear guppies. These are some that Luke has been breeding, but don't discount the guppies. I know that they breed, and that's actually kind of a cool thing. So if you want to see some fish breed, guppies can sometimes be a gateway fish in terms of getting people into breeding fish, but they can be super interesting. There are so many different varieties in terms of color and finnage, and they're just absolutely outstanding. These are really, really great. We have others in our fish room. This is a Japan blue guppy. You can see here with that tail and the different colors, but certainly something to consider. They're not aggressive. We've done species profile on these as well. Now this is a bit of an unusual fish. This is Rhinogobius henchuensis, but look for these freshwater gobies that stay small. We've had like 9 or 10 of them in a 10 gallon for well over a year, and they are some of the goofiest fish that we have in the fish room. If you ever want a fish that's going to make you laugh, these are it. Not aggressive, they eat just about anything, but if you can ever find these types of fish, the Rhinogobius, certainly something to consider for a 10 gallon. And then you've got other fish that are, I think, really cool here. We've got some white clouds. We also have some pearl danios. These are fish, again, that you keep them in a larger group, at least 6. They can be pretty awesome when you put those in a 10 gallon. Right now we're looking at a heavily planted 20 gallon tank, but we've had them in 10 gallon before. And the cool thing about the white clouds is there's a variety. You've got the gold white clouds that we're looking at here. The regular ones I find to be very stunning as well, and they change colors depending on the background. And there's also different finnage types, and so if you get them on a darker substrate, they darken up a little bit. You put them on a lighter substrate, they lighten up, but they're extremely peaceful fish. Sometimes you will see fry in the tank if there's a lot of cover. We've had them breed for us in the past, but a very interesting fish, very peaceful. Here again, we're looking at a 20 gallon, and we've never had any issues with them. We really enjoy the white clouds. Sparkling gouramis are another option. Here we're looking at a 5.5 gallon. In a 10.5 gallon, they would go well. You can kind of see the blue eyes. The video here is not the best, but they are really, really pretty fish. Certainly something to consider. Don't underestimate the bettas. I know they're relatively common, but again, you're looking at a fish that has a ton of variety, a ton of color. Now, of course, in a 10 gallon, you have to be a little bit careful with tank mates because there's not a lot of space there, and especially males sometimes can get a bit aggressive. But if you have the right fish, like maybe you've got a group of rasboras or a group of white clouds where it's going to be really hard for the bettas to kind of chase them around, that might be a good mix. Would I put them with, let's say, long fin guppies or something that's a little bit more slow moving? Probably not. But again, the cool thing here is you're getting a lot of variety, a lot of color, and this can serve as a centerpiece fish if you want something that's relatively common. You don't have to go out and search on the internet for them. One of the other things that you can look at is the pygmy cat. I know a lot of people like to keep cory cats in smaller tanks. I tend not to like to keep the full-size cory cats in a 10 gallon just because you often want a larger group. And the same thing with the pygmy cats, but the nice thing is they only get about 1 inch long, which is about the perfect size for a 10 gallon, so you can keep a half a dozen in there and not have any issues. And I think that goes a long way in making sure that they're successful in a tank that size. So again, this just gives you some ideas. It might be a little bit different than some lists you've seen in the past, but I'm curious, what are the types of fish that you love to keep in a 10 gallon aquarium or even smaller? What have you had success with? Maybe something that's on this list that you've kept before, or maybe something that you've kept that isn't on the list. I would love for you to share in the comments section below what are some of the fish that you really like in this size tank. If you enjoyed this video, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.